So in December of last year, Meta quietly deployed an algorithm that's 10,000 times more complex than anything else they've ever done. It processes tens of millions of signals in near real time. And it literally made the Facebook ad Bible completely obsolete. The 322, that structure, 3 campaigns, 2 ad sets in each, 2 ads per ad set. For the last decade, it's been gospel. Every agency taught it, every course sold it. And now it's the fastest way to blow your budget. Let me show you why your paid media agency is likely already obsolete. For those who don't know, the 322 was the holy grail of Facebook ad structures. 3 campaigns, usually prospecting, retargeting, and retention, and 2 ad sets in each for different audiences or placements. 2 ads per ad sets, just enough to test, but not enough to confuse the algorithm. The 322 was kind of just the beginning. By mid-2023, average e-commerce account was 47 campaigns with 312 and 847 active ads. Plus, your paid media agency was charging you likely 15 or 20 grand a month for what they call performance branding. Here's the beautiful part. It was so good that they didn't need to have any skill right up until December of 2024. That's when Andromeda launched. And accounts that are still using 322 saw this impact. In general, 300% increase in CPMs, a 3 to 5x increase in their CPA. Delivery throttled massively, and agencies going on and on for the last 9 months about creative fatigue and all kinds of stuff all over the place. But one of the best sources for information on Facebook ads has been is the actual Reddit forum for Facebook ads. Some of the smartest people in there have been routinely posting like, I was completely wrong about 322, post Andromeda. I watched my clients absolutely implode their accounts all over the place. But to understand why 322 died, we need to talk about why it existed in the first place. So back in 1955, C. Northcote Parkinson was studying the British Navy. Between 1914 and 1928, the British Navy had shrunk by 67% in terms of both sailors and ships, but their admiralty, that had increased by 78%. The same thing happened in digital marketing. As Facebook's tools got simpler, agencies began to make their structures more complex. Why? Every agency had to come up with new ways to effectively justify their existence. So in 2015, you had 5 campaigns. In 2018, it's up to 15. 2020, 30 campaigns is listed numerous times as a best practice. In 2023, 50 plus campaigns is a sophisticated way to go about marketing your catalog. But it was bullshit. And in 2024, Andromeda absolutely ruined it. So all these performance branding agencies were really just, building Jenga towers out of campaigns, ignoring all of the advice and requests from Meta to simplify. 2017, dynamic creative. They didn't optimize that. Campaign budget optimization. They didn't trust the AI in 2019, and they didn't think broad targeting was sophisticated enough in 2020, even though Facebook had the signals that could read out pretty much anything. 2021, Conversions API came out, and absolutely a best practice that still many brands haven't implemented, going on 5 years later. And then with 2023, Advantage Shopping came out, and really most folks didn't give it the levels of control that it needed to be successful. And a lot of what they did was convince you with flattery, right? They would go to brands and say, those tools work great for, brand A or brand B, but you need sophisticated targeting. And so effective translation, we need you to pay a premium because you're special. Well, here's what's working now. 1 campaign, 1 ad set, minimum 25 creatives. That's it. Ideal 50 creatives. So in the old world, campaign one, you'd have prospecting, ad set one, add one, add two, ad set two, add one, add two, kind of all laid out. Then you'd have another campaign for retargeting, same feature, retention, same. In the new world, Advantage Plus campaigns with Andromeda, you have a single ad set, broad, 18 to 65, United States. Creative number 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down, right? They ask you to break it out into different categories. Effectively, the algorithm is far better at predicting at what stage of the buying funnel shoppers are at. And it is now able to test and learn within a single creative set which piece of creative best drives at what stage of the funnel. And here's what happened when accounts have switched over to this. An e-commerce fashion brand that I was working with, they had a 3-2-2 structure in place, 3 campaigns, 6 ad sets, 12 total ads. CPA was running around $45 with a ROAS, just was at 2. It was taking them 15 to 20 hours a week to manage it, and they were paying a monthly retainer at that point of $12K to their agency. We were able to bring them in and automate much of this for them. And we have been able to flip their campaign now with one ad set, one campaign, one ad set with 52 total creatives. Over the last 60 days, CPA has dropped by 31%. So it's down to almost $30 flat. Their ROAS has increased by 55%. Currently, it takes about 3 hours a week to manage the whole damn thing. And they're saving considerably on their retainers, not having to kind of cover those, right? So this is why Andromeda hates complexity. It's super simple. And to understand why simple beats complex, you need to understand what Andromeda actually does. The old algorithm looked at all your ad sets separately and optimized within the boundaries that you set. Andromeda does not like your structure. It sucks. It wants you to get rid of that structure completely and let it build you a new one that is actually based upon interacting with users at what stage of the user journey they're in with different pieces of creative. So when you have 47 different campaigns, Andromeda will see 47 different learning processes competing for the same users. It's like walking onto a car dealership lot and having every single salesperson come running out at you. You effectively have this massive overstimulation, right? When you have 47 campaigns, Andromeda sees 47 different learning processes competing for the same user. It's like having 47 salespeople trying to call on the same customer at the same time. It's never going to work. Meta's data shows that with traditional structures, 89% of campaigns target the same 11% of users. Audiences overlap by 73%. 45% of spend is wasted on competition between ad sets. And the algorithm it is building no signals, maximum confusion. With a 1-to-1 to many, you end up with 0 internal competition. The algorithm focuses on creative matching to users. All budget end up flowing to the paths that drive the best outcomes. And the algorithm is able to see what works where and serve the right content. This is really kind of a big thing. The paradigm shift here is that really has been missed, is that your creative is your targeting, right? If you upload a video of a 35-year-old woman doing yoga with your product, Andromeda knows instantly. Female, 30 to 40, fitness, interested, yoga practitioner, likely urban, probably higher income. Upload 50 different creatives showing different people in different situations. Andromeda now understands your entire customer base without you having to enter a single targeting parameter. So if you're still running on a 3-2-2 or one of these, insane performance branding like BS structures, here's your migration plan. First off, audit your current performance, right? Identify your top 10 to 15 creative performers, but you need to start planning for at least 25 variants off of those. From there, you should be able to start getting buy-in, from your marketing team. then there's a couple different ways to go in, but generally in the second to third week, launching a creative sprint. Produce 30 to 40 variants as you go through. You want to cover, Facebook has recommended 10 essential creative types, different formats, video, static. Don't forget carousels with images. Instagram loves them. And don't do just one aspect ratio. You need to vary up your aspect ratios 9:16, 1:1, 4:5. All of those need to be included. Additionally, if you just reframe the same videos, that's then 3 pieces of content. So you can stop doing so much work. So load them all up and launch a single Advantage Plus shopping campaign. One ad set, broad targeting. Upload all creatives at once and set budget at 70% of your previous template. Weeks 4 and 5, this is where the pain happens. Days 1 to 3, performance will likely not be great on that campaign. Don't touch anything. Days 4 through 5, 6, weeks 4 and 5. This is the painful part. You have to retrain the algorithm. So days 1 to 3, performance is going to suck. Do not touch anything. Do not alter it. Days 4, 5, 6, and 7 might still suck. Still don't touch it. Day 8 is really the first time to take a measure of performance on these campaigns. You need to give the algorithm enough time to learn and then stabilize. And by day 14, you should have exceeded your old structure massively. All right. So the biggest problems people have, migration mistakes that are happening here. Number 1, not enough creative variety. You need a minimum of 25 pieces for Andromeda to optimize. 50 is ideal. If you look across a number of the brands that have had very successful case studies here, consistently the volume of creative, the higher that level is, the greater the success that they've been able to experience there. Take number 2, messing around during the learning phase. During the learning phase, let it run. You need the entire 7-day period. Any edit resets that clock to 0. Just know that. Mistake number 3, keeping your old campaigns running. They will both compete and they will fail. You do not want to compete against yourself, or you will inevitably. Meta is very good at taking your money. And if you make it easier for them, it's your own damn fault. So you need to transition over to this campaign style in order to maximize your growth there. And mistake number 4 is a gradual transition. Rip the damn Band-Aid off. Switch it all. Q4 is right around the corner, and holy crap, why people are going in waiting till after the year to start trying to get Andromeda figured out is beyond me. So there have been a wide variety of winners kind of across the board, but a couple that I found called out online, and so across that Meta had called out here. One of the best was Living Proof in hair care. They had 150 ad variants from 5 base images. Their result, they lowered their CPA by 15%, and they had a 20% increase in order volume. And so they AI generated variations at scale. Boom, done. Fresh Cosmetics. They did AI text variations over the holidays. They improved their ROAS by 5x. Stop trying to be cute with your words. Algorithms don't really do humor. Really, just let the AI write your copy variations and build off of there. Canopy. They did this with social media, data-informed testing via Andromeda, 176% increase year over year. You have to trust the algorithm. They did, and it worked really, really well. A number that I found specifically overseas, there were a handful, but almost 100% tried to optimize during. Everybody I know who's tried to optimize during the learning phase has seen their CPAs usually go up by 4 to 5x. It's absolutely devastating. Do not do it. Folks that have continued to stick with a 3-2-2 structure and let it compete against their AS Advantage Plus shopping campaigns have seen massive increases in CPL as well. Some seeing a 3 to 4x increase there, pausing all campaigns eventually. I've also seen with luxury brands, they tend to focus solely on the brand imagery and only using approved brand imagery. A jewelry brand that I saw who had tested, They did not have 25 pieces of creative. They had 8. The effect was they were punished by the algorithm for not having enough variant. And so their CPA increased by 200%. So here's where this is headed. Why the majority of media buyers are probably really nervous right now. Media buying is going to flip into creative production, not campaign management. If you are unable to effectively storytell and advise brands on the content that will best resonate and fit into the formats and categories that are needed, there's really not going to be any value being added to these businesses. So, overall, this is going to expand. This is early days. If I was planning for these and looking ahead to 2026, scaling my creative production has to be at a core. I think, likely what we'll end up seeing is around 70% of ads coming from AI generated content. But human creativity is going to be the differentiator in which ads actually perform. Meta is going to remove a lot of the attribution transparency that is there now. I think it'll start to become far more opaque because kind of the Parkinson's law, but also the Dunning-Kruger effect, where people will artificially think they're smarter than the algorithm and go in and attempt to mess with the ad sets. So I predict that, prediction only, but that Meta will stop showing campaign level data. And you'll have account wide or kind of like catalog wide ROAS, category level ROAS, and really an answer of trust the algorithm is going to become fairly mandatory. And so really who stands to really grow out of this? And especially, this is with Q4 2025 really on the horizon here. And so brands that work with in-house creative teams, they've always had an advantage. They need to increase that, but also, really understand that is the key to winning here on the other side of things. Agencies have to start pivoting into creative services. You need to be able to tell, in order to add value, you're going to have to be able to predictively tell folks what content to make and how to publish it. And then also strong first party and zero party data and understanding how you do that. Building audiences on these platforms, still a best practice. Keeping the broad targeting, broad matching, using lookalikes between 1 and 10%, absolutely, to kind of help inform the algorithm and give it some historical information to work off of is a very good idea. Really, traditional media buying agencies and brands dependent on like hyper targeting are going to struggle here. If your creative is really, really weak, that's going to also struggle. And really any business that's running kind of sub 5K a month budgets is going to be heavily punished in this space. All right. So it's hard to hear. Everything you knew about Meta is now turned on its head, especially in terms of paid media, campaign structures, ad sets, how you set them up. That's about as useful now as being a farrier, and like a farrier without a TikTok account to market in. The 3-2-2 structure, it wasn't just a best practice. It was effectively the entire ad industry's model. It was just complicated enough to need specialized experts, but it was, simple enough for people to sell in $49.99 courses on Instagram and LinkedIn. But the reality is Andromeda doesn't really care, neither does Meta. Effectively, they need to be able to target people with the most relevant content to protect them as users, which is as important for them going forward as it is to protect ad revenue. So at the end of the day, Andromeda, Zuck, they don't care about your 47 campaigns. They really don't care about your sophisticated targeting. They really do care about one thing: creative variety. It really is that important. So overall, brands, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out here. Heading into Q4, accept that 3-2-2 is dead and move on. Stop trying to make it work and optimizing around ad sets that no longer work with the algorithm that serves ads. You need to consolidate as soon as possible. If you do not have 25 creative variants, get them as quickly as humanly possible. You have to learn to keep your hands off for 7 days. Think of your learning phase like a souffle. If you open the oven too early, the whole thing's going to fall back in on itself. Leave it alone. And, if you're working with an agency who has been keeping you at 322 and sending you reports for the past 9 months, telling you how awesome it is, feel free to fire them and hire us. Agencies that are clinging to complex structures are just not doing any good by their client. The ones that are actually embracing simplicity and understanding that we need to pivot in how we scale is going to drive things faster than ever. It's not really about right or wrong here. This is about evolution. The algorithm that serves content evolved. Our marketing has to evolve alongside it. And so if you're ready to abandon everything you know about Facebook ads, subscribe, drop me a like. Next week, we're going to go over TikTok's response to this, which actually will make Andromeda look primitive, pending sale of TikTok, of course. So yeah, and if anybody wants kind of an explainer, I have a little 101 course. Feel free to send me a DM. I'm happy to share it with you. Y'all have a good one. Thanks.